So we mentioned the servo, and it showed up while we were filming. So this servo is going in this guy here. This is the Nexx Racing Specter. And as I said, it should drop down and sit flush. So we'll see. So when I first got the car, there was a lot of kind of tightness and binding in all of these tie rods. So I basically did the old, squeeze with some pliers on each piece that seemed like it was binding up. Disconnect the servo, and then you can kind of tell with each piece. You can disconnect each piece. And so I got that all super loosened up. And then, like I said, I was kind of bottoming out because my ride height was just too low, especially on the front. So I raised it up quite a bit, and then I did a lot of tweaking on the springs here, and basically took all the preload all the way out. And this one's just got the tiniest bit of preload on there, and that ended up getting it to steer more consistently. And I think my endpoints now, because I was doing the same thing where I'd set one endpoint really, really high and one really low just to kind of compensate. But then, like I said, I was having issues when I'd be under power, it would push one way, and then when I would let off power, going the other way, it would just spin out. I'd have to stay under power the whole time, otherwise it would just kind of kick the rear end out. And I think that had a lot to do with the the bottoming out. But again, that was causing me to try to adjust these, and then once I got that fixed, it was still having issues. And so, like I said, I just kind of reset it all to zero, everything, dropped the springs down, raised my ride height a lot. I even took I think there used to be a spring here. I took the spring out so that I had an actual stop, a hard stop, and I raised the rear a little bit and made sure that these weren't binding at all. These are another thing that can bind. So make sure your link ends here are not binding. I think even on this one, I ended up having to do the whole right there. You can see it's a little scuffed up, but it was definitely binding and all the links. So you want to loosen that up as much as you can. Another thing that Brent Klingforth actually pointed out to me when I had him look at my car was that there is a lot of camber in this naturally. I think from the factory, they have these pointed out, and I moved them and moved them pointing up to bring my camber back in. You can even see where my tires were wearing, and you can actually still see it because they haven't actually flattened out yet. But they're a little, there's a lot of camber in there. You can see, just like look at this compared to the rear. Okay, and then if these are going straight out, there's even more camber. So having a ton of camber did not help that situation either. So I tried to flatten them out a little bit more, and yeah, that helped.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
All right, so we got our old servo out. We were running the PN Anima, and we're now going to try this guy. It supposedly fits down in the slot just perfect, and actually sits flush with the bottom of the chassis. So here's to hoping that's how that sits. We'll see here. Yeah, it's a fatty. Look at that guy. Actually, here, I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but there's the PN. Well, there's where the PN went. Look at that, and then compare this. So basically, look at that difference. It's a huge difference. Huge. It's like maybe 20% larger, maybe 25. Pretty thick. Let's see how it fits. Just go on this car goes this way. It's looking like it's gonna look good. Nice. Doesn't sit perfectly flush, but it is damn close. That's awesome. We'll have to weigh it once we get it back together and see the difference. We should have weighed the servo by. Actually, we can get the stats on that. We'll put up how much the servo weighs, how much the PN servo weighs. Hopefully we can find it. Oh, we actually want to put that through there. Oops. We're just going to weigh this guy here real quick. 9.64 grams. 9.65 grams. 9.64 grams. Okay. Would you look at that? It even comes with a perfect servo horn. This guy right here. Nice. How awesome is that? It's a little taller. Hopefully that doesn't affect us too much. Oh, this thing's aluminum. Oh no. That's actually kind of shitty. I guess, will this go in there? No, this does not fit that. Damn, that sucks. What does it all mean? And we can make it go. It's just not ideal. It is threaded in there too. Damn, that sucks. If it were plastic, it would just fit, right? Even if it wasn't the exact size. As long as it wasn't too big, we could make it fit. And I don't have anything to create new threads. All right, we got it in there. We just drilled it out just a little bit, just enough to get it in, and now we're in. We're good. It's not going anywhere. It even comes with a hex screw for the servo horn. I love it. All the old guard servo companies give you Phillips heads to put in here, which I hate. So pretty awesome. We get the 1.5 millimeter hex head, Allen wrench, whatever. I like it. All right, let's get it back in.
A few moments later.
All right, we're all in. Once you get this tightened down, it's actually super flush. Look at that. I don't know if you can tell on the camera because it's kind of chamfered, so it's kind of hard to tell how flush it is, but it's damn close. Definitely sitting lower than it was, and we got a little bit more beef in our servo. Hopefully it just doesn't add too much weight, so we'll see. We've already compared the PN to this. Let's see how that affects us. We're all in. We're all centered as far as we can tell, and our endpoints seem okay. Probably got too much steering. I need to go even further. We're only at like 40. Look at that. Could almost do some driftiness. We're actually hitting our ESC. That's hilarious. Yeah, we'd never turn that far normally. That's pretty good. That's at 80. We're going to crank it back down to like, we'll probably end up being around 30, actually. We won't know until we drive it, but the other servo was at like 25. So we'll see. All right. Seems good. And man, like I said, it is way flush. Let's just do a final weigh on the car. We'll just weigh the whole car. All right, here's our weigh-in. Put our battery in, ready to run. We are at 183.05. With the other servo, we were at 179.75. So a little different. So by that, we're 3.32 grams difference. So we're heavier, 3.32 grams. I guess we'll do our balance now. All right, let's throw it down. So the first thing we've got here, 45.97. 42.93. 46.53 and 47.61. So from that, we basically end up with a 50.5 on this side and a 49.46. So basically 49.5. So we're a 0.5% heavier on this side, but our weight is shifted up a little bit because we are now 51.4 in the front. Whereas before we were 51.2 in the front. So just a little bit, like 0.2%. We're basically 92 grams front, 87 grams in the back, and now we're 94 grams front, 88 grams back, well, almost 89. So it's overall a little bit heavier, but funny enough, it shifted because before we were 50.7 on this side and 49.3 basically on this side, and now it's kind of flipped. We're 49 on this side and 50.5 on this side. So it's pretty much the same. Old servo was 91.2 grams and 88.5 grams, and now it's 90.5 and 92.5. So 2 grams difference here, whereas before it was 2.5 grams difference. So we're actually closer now, which is good. It's more closer balanced. So I would highly recommend getting the servo, the AGFRC. I've used them in crawlers, not this specific one, but the smaller one in some of the crawlers, or the larger one, sorry, it's wider. And mini Bs, and it seems to work just great. And so I doubt this is going to have any issues. And the form factor for this chassis is just better. So if you're getting the brass chassis, I mean, even the other chassis, it's nice to have that low. It lowers the center of gravity in general. So even though there's a little bit of weight added, it's putting a higher percentage lower. And it actually balanced out our car left to right a little better. So that's good. We'll just have to see how it works in the real world, right? When you actually go out there and drive it. But I'm going to assume it's going to do good. But we're gonna let you know. It also means we can tape across here now, because before, when the servo was not as flush, it's a couple centimeters away. When you put your tape across, if you're trying to keep it away from your links and go across here, it actually, because it's got nothing to stick to right there, it ends up getting caught a lot. So we have to always tape right here, and then we kind of risk our links hitting. I don't think they do. I haven't seen any evidence that they actually are hitting, but now it just gives us the ability to actually tape across, and because we got something for the tape to stick to, should be fine. But I don't know, maybe we'll still tape it here. Who knows?
8-1. Eight flat. 8-4. 7-7. 8-2. 7-9. 9 flat. 8-1.
All right, guys. So I hope if you own one of these, you get one of these, and take some of my suggestions to heart when you're tuning it, especially if you're newer. Some of you guys that have been around for a while probably already know all that. So it's not for you, but for all the new guys, this car, once you get all that front end loosened up and your ride height correct and your tweak is all set good and your camber all good, the car is amazing. It runs great. The car drives way better than I do, and but I've been killing it. So we've been since we installed the servo and made those adjustments, we probably had about 3 weeks worth of races, maybe 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks, but I've raced, let's see, 4 or 5 nights, and just it's it's a great car. I'm the only one running this one out there right now, and almost everybody else has, you know, either RX-28 or a GLR, maybe an Atomic or an RTRC. You know, again, I'm the only one running the Nexx right now, and we've got a decent number of people, but you know, I'm hanging with them. You know, it's just driver skill that's holding me back on most of the races. But the car itself, like I said, it drives way better than I do. You know, and being the only one out there, I'm constantly getting people asking, is that the Nexx? Is that the new Specter? Is that the Specter? So, you know, I feel like it's handling its own and doing pretty dang well amongst the competition that's out there, especially for the price point, guys. Such a good car for the price. And yeah, we're impressed so far. We love it. And on top of that, it's just a fun car to drive. It's also kind of fun to be the underdog, right? So I feel like Nexx is kind of the underdog out there, but they're definitely stepping up their game with this car. So this is set up for Superstock. I think I mentioned that. Our club might start running Lexan bodies for Superstock. So if that happens, it'll be even better because it lightens up the car overall. I think we're at like 180 grams, something like that. Hold on. So yeah, we're at 182 grams without the body. The car itself, it's at 154 grams. So with a Lexan, you're talking maybe another 15 grams, maybe. Let's see, throw this on 167. So minimum is 160. And so a lot of other guys might have to add weight to their cars, whereas we won't have to add weight. We can still try to cut some in some places. But that means that all of our weight is super low, which is a huge, huge benefit. So again, really it comes down to driver skill. I'm just not there yet, but again, the car, it's been awesome to work on. It runs great. Been running in super stock. You know, if you want to run it in just regular like lipo stock, it would probably do fantastic even without the brass chassis. I mean, I would probably not run the brass chassis at all if I was going to run it in super stock or in stock, excuse me. If you're going to run it in mod, you might want to run the rear brass pod as well. But in super stock, we like this. It seems good. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. Hope something helped. And make sure you like, subscribe, share, and comment down below if you got any questions or if you want to point out anything that we don't know or that we messed up or missed or that you think we should know or that anybody else should know. Put it down in the comments and yeah, get out there and run your cars.